Good afternoon, and Audrey indicated, welcome to the Climatewise Building Challenge webinar. This is the first in a series of informative webinars targeted at the business tenants in commercial buildings. The commercial real estate sector in York Region, in fact throughout the GTA, provides the workplace location for a significant number of businesses. These are businesses who lease space for their office, warehousing or distribution facilities. They are industrial condominiums or retail shopping venues. They are more than likely our SMEs with customer-facing or B2B relationships. They are often isolated from other businesses in their building, yet they share the same common space and utility infrastructure in addition to sharing the elevator. Why are we focused on this segment? Because they have been left out of the opportunity to take action on climate change. Because they have the most to gain by their customers and suppliers in being recognized for their climate action efforts, and because they are in a pivotal position to influence their building property owners in the adoption of practices that contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. What they need and what we are going to provide is a roadmap to greenhouse gas emissions reductions, including how their businesses can benefit by understanding the critical signposts as they move towards the destination of recognition for their sustainability efforts. Next slide. My name is Harry French. I'm the program manager for the Climatewise Business Network, and I'm leading our Climatewise Building Challenge initiative here at the Windfall Ecology Center. I would like to ask my co-presenter, Audrey, to introduce herself and her role here at the Windfall Ecology Center.
Hi there. I'm Audrey Bayens, the Program Coordinator for the Climatewise Building Challenge. My role is to support you in your steps toward being recognized for your GHG emissions community recognition. And I also plan events like these to increase networking and education for your business. So a little bit about Climatewise Building Challenge. It's a program supported by Windfall Ecology Center, a nonprofit social enterprise dedicated to building sustainable communities. Windfall has served the York Region community for over 20 years. The center's activities focus on empowering communities to create a lasting wealth in the carbon-constrained 21st century. Over to you, Harry.
Yeah, so just a quick piece on the Climatewise Building Challenge. It's a competition, a friendly competition in York Region that awards both businesses and buildings recognition for competing in a GHG gas reductions. There's a slide in the way there, Audrey.
Sorry, okay. There, Harry. Yeah.
The competition is free and open to building owners and landlords and tenants who want to take action on fighting climate change. It's a program that is sponsored by the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Next slide. Today, we want to start your business on a journey. It is a journey ending in recognition for your business efforts and taking action on climate change. That is recognition, again, as I mentioned, by employees, by your customers, by your suppliers, and importantly, by your community. Your business can be recognized at the York Region Sustainability Awards event, including the opportunity to be part of the BOMA, Building Owners and Managers Association Annual Provincial Crest Awards. We are going to begin the journey with a guiding roadmap for commercial building tenants. Next slide. We want to inspire you. We want to inspire you to action and to guide you towards taking the right action to reduce your business greenhouse gas emissions. Our roadmap will guide you in taking action on climate change through knowledge sharing and by introducing you to practices and case studies to build working relationships with your landlord and building tenant neighbors. Today's webinar is an overview of the roadmap. Future webinars to be held monthly to November will act as guideposts to your journey. They will take a deeper dive into how your business can benefit by reducing your greenhouse gas emissions. The beginning entry point on the roadmap is awareness of the situation. We need to understand the current threat and the urgency to take collective and individual action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions that avoid the worst impacts of climate change. The IPCC Emissions Gap Report captured this urgency succinctly. We have a brief video clip that sets the challenge in crystal clear context for you. Can we show the video?
Scientists point out that women and children will be the worst hit by climate change, despite the view that they are
We fool ourselves if we think we can fool nature, because nature always strikes back.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Wow,
Okay.
what compelling images. The IPCC Vicious Report sets out stark implications for not taking action. We can't avoid the impacts of climate change and its effects on your business, but we can avoid the worst effects of climate change by taking action now. IPCC Emissions Gap Report offers some hope. If we can get on a road that sees an average annual GHG emission reductions of 7.6% by 2030 over 2015, there is hope. This is the road we need to be on to achieve net zero by 2050. Next slide. Your business in your building location has a role to play because you are part of the problem. You're also part of the solution. Buildings in York Region account for 43% of greenhouse gas emissions. And as you can see, the absolute number is increasing, not decreasing. Within your building, your business accounts for 60 to 80% of energy consumed, and therefore the GHGs emitted. Your participation in the roadmap to net zero is vital. Next slide, please. The primary goal is undertaking building retrofits and changing building use behaviors to achieve steep reductions in GHG from your operations. There are immediate economic benefits in taking action. A study by the Green Building Council of Canada points out some impressive figures on the potential of Canada's retrofit economy by 2030. $32.5 billion GDP contribution and 51% reduction in emissions from 2005 levels. There's a lot of reasons to get on the road and to take action. Oops. Okay, so that's the big picture. Now let's look at what is going on, what is going to happen in your building and your business that will impact your business in the short term. Energy costs are going up. You'll see them in your lease and rent payments. As the price of carbon goes from $50 a ton in 2022 to $170 a ton in 2030, you'll be paying more to heat and electrify your building. But more importantly, climate action regulations and legislation changes are being mandated and will be passed on to your business. First, I want to talk about is mandated caps on building greenhouse gas emissions. Your landlord will know about this, but as a building tenant, you know that Ontario has mandated reporting of energy and water use by your building owner. EWRB, energy water reporting and benchmarking for large buildings, is in the 4th year of operation for buildings over 100,000 square feet. It is called Building Energy Performance Disclosure. In 2023, buildings over 50,000 square feet will be required to report. In the US cities, disclosure has been a precursor to mandated caps on building GHG emissions. And it's about to happen here in Ontario. Toronto City Council is currently reviewing an update to the Toronto Green Standard that will require existing buildings, that is existing buildings, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a prescribed amount and by a prescribed year. Your landlord is going to be asking you to participate in achieving these caps. Another key influence will be the climate-related financial disclosure. The Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, or TCFD for short, was led by our own Mark Carney. Boards and investors in public companies are being asked to adopt recommendations for voluntary climate-related financial risk and disclosure. Today, it's voluntary for public companies, but tomorrow, with the imminent climate threat, it will become mandatory and maybe pushed down to private businesses as suppliers to these public companies, or it's going to be pushed down as an expected best practice. You will need to understand how might my business be affected by the TCFD disclosures, what is the benefit to my business by using this framework, and what are the ways that I can build more climate business more climate resiliency as a tenant in the building. Answers to these questions and to the impact of building energy performance disclosure will be the topic of our April 6th webinar. Audrey?
Well, thank you very much, Harry, for such insightful information. Moving on to our next guidepost in our roadmap, we're going to show you some successful business case studies and why they have found that success. This is our first business case study, and it's Bernardo Realty Trust, who realized that tenant spaces account for 70% of energy consumption, and that led to an exploration for ways to connect tenant actions to energy savings. They created an energy information portal to help tenants make improvements to reduce usage. The portal helped tenants connect their day-to-day actions with actual energy savings to gain a better understanding of the impact of their behavior. This gave them the motivation to improve and save energy. And again, as mentioned earlier, there are links in these documents that you can click on when you receive this PDF at the end of the presentation. The second case study is done by Heinz, and they're recognized for the value of interacting with tenants to foster stronger landlord-tenant relationships, as well as the energy and environmental benefits for the company's portfolio. Their green office program was implemented across their office network, and recognition given to motivate tenants to take efficiency and other sustainable actions. So the recognition factor then created a very strong landlord-tenant relationship, and that was the key to the success. In this slide, we are demonstrating the broad reach of Epic Investment Services, and they're going to share their best practices on a video following this slide. They're headquartered in Toronto, Canada, and operating from offices in Canada and the United States. Epic has over 17.5 billion in assets under management. Their portfolio is comprised of 30 million square feet of office, retail, industrial, and multifamily residential properties. You can see why it's important that Epic has an ability to engage with employees. So on this next slide, we're going to hear from Emily and give us a rundown on their green team tools, and she is the Senior Sustainability Analyst for Epic Investment Services.
Hello, my name is Emily Nield, and I'm the Senior Sustainability Research Analyst at Epic Investment Services. Epic Investment Services is a fully integrated real estate platform that operates across North America. One of the services that we offer is property management, and that is what I'm here to talk about with you today. As property managers, we have a responsibility to operate our buildings in a way that reduces their environmental impact. In order to achieve this goal, property managers must work with their tenants. At Epic, we work with our tenants in a variety of ways. When it comes to energy consumption, we make sure that as property managers that our overall energy consumption is as low as it can be. We've made sure that we've installed LED lights, that our HVAC systems are highly efficient, but to make further energy reductions, we have to work with our tenants and see what systems they have in place in their suites. If you are not sub-metered, you might be thinking, what's the point in reducing my own energy? But the more energy you do reduce, the more the building energy comes down, and you will also see that reflected back in your bills. Ways that we engage our tenants to reduce their energy consumption is through our green team program. We've ensured that there are green teams at every one of our properties across the country, and we've asked each tenant to nominate a representative to sit on that green team. At green teams, we've given them checklists that they can bring back into their suite, and they can go through with their colleagues to identify areas in which they can reduce energy consumption, water consumption, waste, etc. Some easy initiatives that we found that we can take with our tenants is to reduce energy consumption in ways such as through phantom power. You might not know this, but the electricity is still flowing to your electronics even when the electronic is turned off, but it's still plugged into the wall. So we educate tenants on these phantom powers, so that way they know that they can unplug the electronics or install a power bar, which they can switch off to reduce energy consumption in that matter. We also encourage our tenants to use supplies that are Energy Star rated, such as computers, or if they have a kitchenette, a dishwasher, a fridge, just to further reduce energy consumption. We also work with our tenants to reduce water consumption and waste. To reduce waste, we've ensured that all of our tenant suites are equipped with the right signs and bins to make sure that waste is being properly sorted, and we offer education services to make sure that everyone knows how to sort the waste properly. But my favorite part of engaging tenants at properties is by having events. It's the fun, engaging events that are the most well received in our communities. Pre-COVID, we used to have lobby events to celebrate Earth Day and Waste Reduction Week, but now we've hosted virtual events in which we educate our tenants on such initiatives as the phantom power that I mentioned earlier, or other ways to reduce waste, both in office and at their home. We are now having a virtual cooking webinar in which a chef is going to be showing you how you can reduce your food waste and shop locally to reduce your greenhouse gas consumptions. And it's these fun interactive events that property managers can offer their tenants in order to encourage them to minimize their environmental impact, both at home and in the office. And it's when we work together as from tenants and as property managers that we're able to minimize our environmental impact the most.
Thank you very much, Emily. And it's obvious that you have great success with your program, and it's all based on teamwork, and you engage your tenants beautifully with all your tools and education and messaging for them to use. Thank you so much. We are now moving into our next section, but before we do that, I'm just going to pause here for a minute to check the chat to see if there are any questions that have come up. Well, there's just a nice thank you from Emily. Thank you, Emily. And thank you for doing that recording for us. No other questions, Harry. So
Okay.
we will move on now to the next section. Just a minute while I get myself organized. So this next section is how to help you get started. You need support. We have the knowledge and the ability to give you that support. It's about being clear on the obstacles that you're running into and creating a building plan for your business. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, sorry. So this slide outlines a few obstacles that you may run into. And as the program coordinator for Climatewise Building Challenge, I hear questions like these regularly from our participants. We will walk you through all these problems. And it may seem overwhelming in the beginning, but we will make some of these things that overwhelm you your strongest assets at the end of the day. So Energy Star Portfolio Manager is one of the key pieces to our success in helping you identify how you can have energy savings. So another piece on Energy Star Portfolio Manager is that it is supported by NRCan nationally and North America wide through the EPA. And that gives us a snapshot of the improvement in our greenhouse gas reductions, which is very, very important. So being part of this as a leader by beginning to input your data will demonstrate your commitment to Canada's greenhouse gas reduction targets. A little bit more about Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Once you start to manage what you measure, you can analyze it to see where are things going wrong, where is there more energy spent than should be, what's happening in the off seasons. And once you create that insight, you can then start working toward being more sustainable, which then creates a sustainable brand to be recognized by your community. Collaboration is a key. So it's very, very important that you have a strong relationship with your building owner so that you can work together to have benefits for both of you. So here's a good illustration of some of the benefits found by Reed Smith. And there are more case studies on the PDF that you'll get, plus there's a link there on the page that you'll be able to access. So this example, of course, is one of the best ones that we found, and it's 410% ROI and a cost savings of over $1 million over a payback period of 2.2 years. Pretty outstanding. So this is two sides to the impact. You can be proud as a business to reside in this building and have your logo on the outside of this building. It indicates that you're a sustainable brand, and that the building owner will also be very proud that they are a forward-thinking energy conservation building owner. You can learn a lot more about collaboration like this in our June 1st webinar. This slide is all about the circular economy, and you're wondering, what does that have to do with building practices? But BOMA Canada has a guide to circular economy for commercial real estate, and it is very important. And you can learn more about this at a webinar that we're having on September 7th, and you will see how it touches on economic, social, and environmental practices. I'm just hearing somebody pop into the room. I'm sorry, I just need to check that I have let them in properly.
I got it.
Got it. Thank you, Harry. Okay, going back over here. So, green teams, they are my favorite topic. I was a member of the TELUS Green Team for over a decade, and we made huge impact on employee engagement with sustainability. It was the bullet number 4 there, where it says, forge a new and exciting path that will open opportunities for environmental action in your company. That was the area that really got employees excited. So projects where they can participate and see the end result as a collaborative action, that was really, really important. And so there's a sense of pride. And not only that, they bring home those day-to-day practices and share them with their neighborhood. Over to you, Harry.
Thank you, Audrey. Some very practical suggestions on where to start. And a reminder for me to the listeners that the Climatewise Building Challenge is here to help you start your journey and to be recognized for your efforts. Later, I'm excited to share with you our new tenant space recognition initiative. This is modeled on a similar Energy Star program in the US, and we are working with Natural Resources Canada to bring the program to Canada. Now I want to talk to you about green leases. As a building tenant, when looking at where to start, a critical area is to investigate your lease. We appreciate that they can be complex. They are set up for varying periods of time and conditions, and often are couched in difficult legalese. But the basic issue with the lease when it comes to sustainability is the balancing of the cost and benefits between the landlord and the tenant on energy performance investments and behaviors, and ensuring equitable arrangements across the building's portfolio of tenants. Green leases are being deployed by leading commercial real estate companies such as Epic Investment Services. And because of the importance of the topic, we have scheduled a separate webinar, details to be provided later. The focus of the problem is called split incentive. Investments that result in energy savings and GHG reductions as one party paying for the improvements, such as the landlord, while the other party receives benefits of reduced utility costs, such as the tenant, resulting in a split incentive. Next slide, please. It's a problem of who benefits, given the different types of leases that are out there. And I know it's much more complex than just gross lease and triple net lease. Next slide, please. But firms are starting to adopt green leases. Unfortunately, we have a long way to go. So for business owners like you need to educate yourselves on your options and alternatives to traditional leases. Next slide, please. There are important benefits to green leases, including, as we've talked about throughout this presentation, public image and marketing for both landlords and tenants. There are currently many resources available on the topic of green leases. Our own RealPAC offers a green lease guide. We'll be looking for RealPAC and some case studies in our next webinar. We're looking forward to discussing some of the green lease best practices in this webinar and bringing some insights to our business owners on this topic. Next slide, please. As we approach our roadmap destination, there is an easy action you can take, and there's financial support for your building and the businesses in the building to take. Conduct an energy efficiency walkthrough of your business, ask your landlord to participate, and use some of the simple checklists that are available that Emily referred to. There are simple questions that you can ask. I want to show you at this point an illustrated video from Save On Ontario that asks those simple questions and how you might employ it in your building with your landlord. Audrey?
Many mid-tier commercial real estate buildings have opportunities to reduce operating expenses and increase property values through energy efficiency. An energy efficiency walkthrough is a great place to start. This walkthrough has no cost other than a few hours of time for the building operator and superintendent, and often reveals immediate low and or no cost actions that will drive savings. Equipment and service vendors may be willing to participate in the walkthrough to share their technical expertise. Let's use an example. 555 Maple Road is a 4-story mixed-use building with multiple tenants and a restaurant on the ground floor. The building supervisor and operator have been tasked by their management to use low and no-cost energy measures to eliminate as much energy waste as possible. They conduct an energy efficiency walkthrough on an annual basis during a different season each year, sometimes accompanied by one of their vendors for technical support. The supervisor and operator at 555 Maple Road use the energy efficiency walkthrough to answer 3 important questions. What equipment is consuming energy and costing money when it isn't needed? These opportunities are easiest to find during hours when key systems are not in use. So check heating system settings early in the summer and cooling systems in the fall to ensure they are not left on and consuming energy unnecessarily. Also, check heating, cooling, ventilation, and lighting settings during unoccupied hours and in unoccupied spaces. During the walkthrough at Maple Road, the operator found out-of-date ventilation and heating schedules in 2 suites. They also discovered that the garage ramp heater hadn't been shut down. Simply turning that off in the spring and fall saved the building $2,000 in electricity. What equipment is wasting energy by working harder than necessary? Many ventilation and pumping applications in mid-tier buildings are good candidates for speed control using new motor technologies or variable frequency drives, also known as VFDs. The building supervisor found aging motors in many fan coil units and made the decision to replace them with electrically commutated motors, or ECMs. ECMs use integrated speed control and permanent magnet technology to improve performance and reduce heat inside the motor. In addition to cost savings, the project reduced utility bills, improved indoor air quality, decreased maintenance on fan motors, and improved ventilation. Ventilation fans, circulator pumps, and cold water booster pumps may lead to big energy and cost savings using VFDs. The operator identified several high-usage fan and pump systems and asked their HVAC vendor to prepare an estimate of project costs and return on investment. Is any large equipment nearing end-of-life replacement? This step is another opportunity to involve equipment vendors, either virtually through video conferencing or in person when the situation allows. Incentives are available through the Save On Energy Retrofit program to offset the cost of new high-efficiency chillers that will save your facility energy and money for decades after they are installed and reduce tenant comfort calls. The team at Maple Road noted that the chiller was scheduled to be replaced in a few years and flagged it for their next discussion with their vendor. At 555 Maple Road, the building operator and superintendent used the building walkthrough to make immediate operational improvements, including updating HVAC schedules and resetting the garage ramp heater. Following the walkthrough, they called their HVAC vendor to retrofit 20 fan coil units with ECMs and added a VFD to one circulator pump. Together, these activities led to electricity savings of $12,000 per year. The additional net operating income from these projects also increased the building's property value by approximately $260,000. Building on that success, the team plans to have the building recommissioned next year to ensure that key systems are tuned and functioning properly. As the Maple Road example shows, an energy efficiency walkthrough is a low-cost approach to reduce energy waste, identify high-value upgrades, and increase a property's net operating income. Building recommissioning is a systematic process to improve an existing building's performance through identifying low-cost or no-cost operational improvements to increase comfort and yield energy savings. In short, taking what you have and making it better. The Save On Energy Retrofit program offers prescriptive incentives for HVAC system controls, ECMs, variable frequency drives, chillers, and other common energy efficiency upgrades, as well as application support and technical assistance from Save On Energy Retrofit representatives.
So that was a great video, and you can see that it's a win-win-win for everyone, and you're well supported by many organizations who will give you the technical information and possibly some funding. So this slide has some snapshots of funding. And again, if you want more detail about any of this funding available for equipment and information and knowledge, there are details in the PDF at the end of the deck when you receive that from us. So a good reason to investigate all those things.
Okay, so we've reached or close to reaching our final destination of recognition. Those are very clear steps on how to start your journey if you're a commercial building tenant. Also, if you're a building owner, but commercial building tenants are our key focus for this particular webinar. This is the opportunity for recognition at the final destination and for your climate action efforts, both for building owners and for their tenants. You may be recognized at our annual community-based York Region Sustainability Awards. In addition, winners at this awards may be able to participate in the provincially focused BOMA Crest Awards. The Climatewise Building Challenge is the first BOMA regional ally to participate in the Crest Awards. We will be in a position to elevate our community winners to compete against the best in Ontario. All of this will happen in 2022. For our commercial business tenants, we have a special initiative that is currently being launched in York Region. That is our Tenant Space Recognition Program. Next slide, please. It is modeled on the Energy Star Tenant Space Recognition in the US. As I mentioned earlier, we are currently working with NRCan to bring the program to Canada in 2022. There are important benefits for you to be one of the first in the program, and you'll be recognized for your participation at the York Region Sustainability Awards event. Audrey?
All right, we're moving into our next section, but before we move there, I'm just going to pause and check the chat to see if there are any questions. Okay, no questions. We must be doing a good job at answering all the questions, Harry. All right, A little bit about our Climatewise Building Challenge. You've heard what we can do for you. And when you participate with us, it is our vision to help you as York Region building owners and business to reach energy and greenhouse gas reduction targets. Those targets are generated by you in your planning strategy, and the importance is that you detail the data management through Energy Star Portfolio Manager. And we provide you with a plan of action that we can help you design, and that we benchmark together, and that we get you advice from industry leaders. These are some of the benefits that you can expect to enjoy being a member of the Climatewise Building Challenge. All of them are very important, and you can read these in detail later when you receive the PDF. This is a list of our webinar series to come, and we hope that you'll join us for many more topics as they were indicated throughout this deck as an overview.
To date, we're proud to have 136 buildings or resources users involved in our Climatewise Building Challenge. And more recently, RBC has introduced 55 of their properties in York Region to be part of the Climatewise Building Challenge. This came to us through our affiliation with the BOMA Race to Reduce. So that draws us to the end of our presentation. If you go to the next slide, please, Audrey. We've appreciated your time today. We encourage you and your tenants to join the Climatewise Building Challenge and get started on your sustainability journey. If there are any questions now, again, we'd appreciate if you place those questions in the chat box, and we'll answer them as best we can. If there's not questions in the chat box and you want to reach out to us later on, you can simply go to our website for our contact information, and we'd be happy to speak with you on any of these topics that we've talked about tonight or today. Please consult our website. Take a look at the webinar schedule that we have laid out for you. It's really interesting in terms of its focus on commercial building tenants. This is a difficult market to approach, but we know that it's one that's been left out of this journey to reduce our our greenhouse gas emissions here in York Regions, and we are making every effort to provide commercial building tenants working with the building owners the opportunity to be part of this journey. Thank you very much. Any questions, Audrey, at this point?
No, Harry, we have no questions.
Okay. So with that, I'll thank you again. And Audrey, thank you for all your back office assistance. And we look forward to working with you in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.